just got back from a party, tucked my hair under my hat because I didn't want to deal with it, and in my YouTube search that I was looking at when I was just winding down, I've seen a lot of people making fun of this one scene in Saved by the Bell where Jessie has a breakdown on caffeine pills in front of Zach. I didn't realize a lot of things. I didn't realize how big the show was, because I really loved it as a kid. I also didn't realize how much of a joke that scene was. So I rewatched it. I rewatched the Teens React episode to it. And in all honesty, the scenes leading up to it I do think are cheesy. But the actual breakdown itself, I honestly think is pretty good acting. It's, you know, the I'm so excited, I'm so excited, I'm so scared. That part I always thought was legitimately good, but the lead up to it was cheesy. I think a lot of people blame Elizabeth Berkley for that, unfairly. I think a big part of why it's so cheesy is the nature of the show itself, the fact that it's this very campy show for kids tackling this serious issue. That and the fact that it was caffeine pills, which, someone who doesn't know squat about drugs, apparently caffeine pills only have the strength of a cup of coffee, so that alone makes it really cheesy as well. But in all honesty, but for the actual breakdown, I thought to myself, if that were done in a grittier show and they were allowed to do a harder drug, I honestly think it could have been better received. Well, it did achieve meme-tic status, so I'm sure that's an achievement somehow by internet standards. You know, people are still talking about this show. So I really liked it. I thought it was definitely that time that made me think that being a teenager was going to be really cool and fun and awesome, and not exactly the case. But the show was nice. That I liked that idea of, oh, that definitely gave me the fantasy of, oh, you can get into trouble, but you can get out of it really quickly. Oh, you got this, you're going to have a group of friends that you're going to keep forever, and they're going to have your back, and you'll always be there, and you'll get to do all these really cool things around your school and in life. So I think for me that happened more in adulthood than in my school years. But it was a very fun show. It's very campy. But I think the campiness is part of its charm. I don't think anybody took the show too seriously. I don't even think it was meant to be a drama like Dawson's Creek, at least when they tackled serious shows. Sorry, not serious shows, serious issues. Because apparently I read this interview with one of the creators, Peter Engel, and he said that when they were taping that episode, the one that everyone makes fun of, that the audience was on the edge of their seats and people had tears in their eyes. And I can believe that, because while the presentation is cheesy by today's standards, the situation is still extremely resonant, probably even more now. The pressure to perform, the pressure to succeed, especially because it seems like the bar has been raised so high and you have to jump through more and more hurdles just to get a decent job. So yeah, we'll make fun of the actual delivery, but we are still remembering it, and I think it is worth remembering because her issues are legitimate, even if the presentation is awkward. I honestly I think we do blame her too much. She seems to have embraced it because she did a Jimmy Fallon sketch where they make fun of it. But I do think part of it is just how cheesy and brightly colored and campy the nature of the show was. And then you have, if half the performance is really cheesy and over the top, at least in the lead up, in the beginning of the scene, but then half is like something you'd see on an HBO show, or maybe not HBO, but something more dramatic. Maybe ABC, because they have melodramatic shows, and they'll do more serious issues. Sometimes in a campy way, sometimes in a serious way. That's what I took out of it. And it is fun to look back at it because the 90s had a lot of shows that were really cheesy and tame by today's standards, but they did pave the way for us to get much more gritty, realistic shows, because once you're oversaturated with cheesy and campy, then you want dark and gritty. When you're oversaturated with dark and gritty, then you want bright and colorful again. So it seems to be this infinite loop, kind of like when it's summertime, everyone's like, oh, when's it going to be winter? And when it's winter, everyone's like, oh, when's it going to be summer? Did you react differently to that scene? Because I definitely remember taking it very seriously as a kid, and I take parts of it still very seriously now. Parts of it I do think, yeah, cheesy presentation, but we remember it. And there's something to be said for that.